What if money wasn't a thing? That's something that I was asked on stream a while ago. It was in the context of cameras and camera gear. We were talking about cameras, and somebody asked, what if money wasn't a thing? What cameras would you get? And I thought that would be a good idea for a video. So rather than just answering that question, because that sort of leaves it too open to just like everything, just all of it. Like if money wasn't a thing, I would just buy all the things. But then would I though? So I'm going to add a few parameters and then I'll give my answer to that question. So I'm going to treat it as if it was a Mr. Beast video and he's like, here's a camera store. I'll pay for anything you can take with you. So it's sort of like within reason, here's all the stuff that I would want to get for what I want to do with cameras. It can be restricted to like camera, audio, and lighting gear. Like I'm not going to go any computers or anything else. And, to take the realism out of it, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm also going to get, an apartment or a studio or something like that. Like I'm not going to count that, just specifically gear only. And obviously, first thing we're going to do is cameras. So recently I did get the A7 IV from Sony and it is great. I'll do plenty more videos about it in the future. But if this sort of scenario happened while I still had this, so if it happened now, I would keep this. This would still be one of my cameras. But I would also more or less kind of replace it with an A1, the Sony Alpha 1, as a hybrid photo video camera, because the A1 can do 8K. It has a 50 megapixel sensor. It is significantly faster and just pretty much better in every way. But to be fair, it is like 3 times the price. So that kind of makes sense. That would be my B or maybe even C cam when it comes to video, and then it would be my primary photo camera. But for video, I would either get 2 Sony FX3s or an FX6 and an FX3. Or why not 2 of each if we're going that far, but I don't really need 2 of each sort of thing. So I would say either 2 FX3s or an FX6 and an FX3. The FX6 would obviously be my studio camera where it's just here and it stays on a mount somewhere and I don't really take it many places. And then the FX3 would be the one that if I was to go do a vlog, if I was going to go somewhere and film little handheld stuff, that's sort of what I would use that for. And I would probably use one of them as my webcam as well, plugged in the camera, or maybe even use the A7 IV. I would use one of them as my webcam at my computer, like I currently use my G85 for. And for each of these cameras, probably not for every single one, but I would probably get at least one cage for this camera, the A1 and the FX3. So then I could build rigs around it. So I'd have kind of a rig for each one, especially for the A1. I would build it so it can easily be transformed from a photo to video or vice versa. Whereas the FX3 would more be, all right, this is the video rig sort of thing. And that's just it. It doesn't need to be taken out of the cage ever. And in real life, I do plan on actually getting a cage for this camera pretty soon. That's probably one of the next things that I am going to get is a cage with some handles and stuff like that to make certain things a bit easier when it comes to video and photo, but more video. I would also get dummy batteries for all of them because even though they can all actually function on USB power, dummy batteries would generally work better. And speaking of dummy batteries, I would then get V-mount batteries to plug them into. The small rig V-mount batteries look pretty good. I'd probably get 1 or 2 of each of them. They have a 50, a 99, and a 150, I think, or 159 or something like that, somewhere in the 150 range. And then now let's get onto lenses. Now, what I'm actually going to get and what I say I would get if I had no restrictions when it comes to the financial aspect of it is very different. And what I actually plan on getting is, on top of this 20mm 1.8 that I do have, the next lens that I'm going to get is going to be a Tamron 35 to 150 f2 to 2.8, just because I can then get that one lens and it can do a lot because it has that such a wide range at a reasonably low aperture as well. Whereas if money wasn't an issue, I would just get the full G Master lineup, basically. I would get either the 12 to 24 or the 16 to 35 G Master. Although the 16 to 35 G Master is getting kind of old now, and they haven't updated it to a version 2, which I feel like they should probably do in the next year or two. So I know maybe that'll be coming in a year or so, but either the 12 to 24 or the 16 to 35, one of those ultra wide zooms. G Masters, of course. The version 2 of the 24 to 70 G Master, that's just a standard. It's like, okay, if you need a zoom lens, that's generally the one you're going to get unless you need telephoto or wide. If you just need anything in the middle, that's the one to get. And a lot of people use that lens or any other 24 to 70 a lot. And then, of course, the 70 to 200 G Master f2.8 Mark II telephoto zoom. I think I would use that a lot, especially for photos, but I would also try and use it as much as I can for video. But that is an expensive lens. Although, to be fair, as are all of these, but, you know, actually the 12 to 24 is more expensive. It's like $5,000. Kind of ridiculous. And then I would either get a teleconverter for that 7200 or the 100 to 400 G Master. I don't know. One of them, I don't think it would make a huge difference either way. So that's the zoom lenses out of the way. Now that theoretically could be it. Like it's like, I'll just get all the zooms, then I'm covered from 12 mil to 400 mil. However, that's only at f2.8. I do like a good shallow depth of field. So I would probably get most of the G Master primes. Now, I don't really see myself needing a 14mm prime lens. I feel like I wouldn't use it that much. Like maybe I'd try it for vlogging, but you know, the 20mm is fine for vlogging. If I had a 16 to 35, that would be fine. So it's like the 14mm would definitely not be a priority for me. Probably in order of which ones that I would want the most, the 135, the 50, and then the 35 and 24. That's probably the order that they would go in, and then the 85, and then the 14. I do want an 85mm lens, but apparently the 85mm G Master is just not up to par with the rest of the G Masters, so that's why it's so far down the list. But apparently the 135 is just, it's up there. It is good. And the 50mm being a f1.2, gotta have that, of course. So basically I just have most of the G Master zooms and most of the G Master primes, and you'd be pretty much set. Now, I wouldn't really go into maybe the 200 to 600, or there's a couple of like telephoto primes, like 400, and I think there's a 600 as well. I don't really see myself wanting those. Having a telephoto zoom would be plenty, I think, for me. That's the cameras and lenses done. When it comes to accessories for that, I mentioned the cage and other rigging accessories like handles and stuff like that, other mounts. Sort of along the same lines, I would also get probably a couple of Atomos Ninja 5s, and I'd probably also get the Ninja Cast, which you can then plug your Ninja 5 into and use that as a video switcher. So if you have multiple angles, you can have up to 4 cameras plugged into the one switcher, and you can switch it on the buttons directly. So I would definitely use that. I would probably use that for live streaming. I would also get a set of variable ND filters that would fit all of the lenses. So that's all the video stuff, all the cameras, all the lenses, everything for them. Now, when it comes to audio, on-camera microphone, I would want to get probably a Rode VideoMic NTG, which is basically a much better version of the VideoMic Go 2 that I have on the camera now. Here's the audio from that, from about an arm's length away. Either that, or maybe like a Sennheiser MKE 400, I think it is, which is their like on-camera shotgun mic equivalent to that, you know, VideoMic NTG. I think it's a little bit more expensive, but again, money's not a thing. Mr. Beast is buying me all this stuff. And then for my overhead boom mic, which I have right here, I would go for the Sennheiser MKH50, which is a different style of shotgun mic compared to my Rode NTG1. It is much more meant for indoor dialogue sort of stuff, closer range, more rejection of other sounds, so it's much more directional, which is kind of what I would want anyway. Like, I'm not filming movies where I want, you know, some of the background noise to be coming in. I film these sorts of videos where it would make sense to be doing something sort of like this mic does, where it rejects all the other sound. Like, there's a bunch of birds out there, but you probably can't hear them because this mic is dynamic and it's not picking that up. But this is what the NTG1 sounds like right now. Like, you're listening to that audio now. And then to replace the Audio-Technica AT2040 that I have as a dynamic mic that I would keep at my desk for when I'm streaming, or if I'm doing videos like this at my desk and I want nice, clean audio and I don't mind having a microphone in my face. I'm just sort of doing it for this video because why not? But I would probably want to get an RE20 from Electro Voice, I think it is. Yeah, I would get an RE20, which is a pretty popular microphone. Not as popular as the SM7B from Shure, but I like not only the look of the RE20 a bit better, it sounds pretty similar to the SM7B to me at least. So something of that sort of vibe, I guess. But the RA20, I think, would be the dynamic microphone of choice for me. Then when it comes to an audio recorder, I'd probably get, a Zoom F8 or F8N Pro or whatever their best one is. I'm pretty sure it's the F8N Pro. Completely unnecessary to have so many inputs because that has 8 XLR inputs. I can't see myself needing 8 inputs, but I'm not paying for it. Why not? Just be great to have like some of the best audio that you can get recorded, 32-bit float, just like everything that you'd possibly need for audio. I would have that mounted on this C-stand right here, and all my mics would go into that. And then that could then also be used as an interface into my computer. Not sure if I would use that or not, but it would, just to record audio there. However, if I was using an FX6 or an FX3, I'd probably just use the XLR into the audio handle on the camera because I don't like syncing audio. So it would be good to just have audio straight into the camera. And then speaking of the computer, I would also get a Rodecaster Pro 2 to control all of my computer audio, any microphones that I would have plugged into my computer. Currently, I have 2 and a third one when I have a second camera. I would control all of that and all my computer audio through that. And it would also make streaming a lot easier, especially now since they have added fully customizable submixers in recent firmware updates. Okay, so that's audio. The last thing we're going to talk about is lighting. Now, I did recently get this Amaran 100D. It's great. It's good for what I need it for. It's plenty bright. I use it at 20%, and it's one of the smallest lights that they make of this type. But, of course, if I don't need to pay for it, why not get the best ones? So probably something along the lines of the Aperture, maybe 600X. I think there's a 600C now or something like that. Pretty much any of the Aperture Lightstorm lights would be perfect, or way overkill, but probably like a 300X, 600X, like those sorts of things. Probably get a couple, or I would keep this. Obviously, this would just be like a hair light or something like that, and then I would have a key light using one of the more expensive lights. The benefit to using higher powered lights is you can run them at such a low power that they don't make any noise. Like this one, it actually does have a fan in it, and it's always running. Now, you probably can't hear it. My computer fans are actually louder than it, but the higher level Aperture lights, you can change the fan modes where you can actually just run it so low power that it just doesn't make any noise. So that's sort of the benefit of running overkill lights compared to ones that would actually make sense when it comes to power, but then you would have to worry about the fan noise potentially picking up on a mic. Also with lights, I'd also want to get like some tube lights, like either the Nanlite Power tubes or Aperture has some as well. I think Amaran has some, as well as the Aperture MCs, just like little lights that I could use for B-roll particularly, or just for background lights in particular. That's probably what I would use the most for. Or, I would probably keep in like an Aperture MC in my camera bag, so if I ever needed a light while I'm out somewhere, I would have one. Also, memory cards. This is actually something I forgot. I didn't even put it in my notes, but memory cards are the very expensive part of the whole video and photo thing. So I'd probably get a few CF Express Type A cards and a few V90 SD cards, probably of the 128 gig plus variety, just so you never really have to worry about storage. Like right now, my 80 gigabyte CF Express Type A card can do about an hour and a half of recording at the video format that I currently record in. So I'm not really worried about like running out of space, but it does mean that if I want to record this video and then I want to record another video and take some photos, then I do need to start worrying about space. I actually filled up the memory card the other day just taking photos, so 80 gigabytes is not hard to fill up. That's pretty much it. So if anybody has a heap of money and wants to buy me all that stuff, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, Mr. Beast. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed whatever this was. I don't know. Anyway, that's all. Bye. I'm still here.